There's a lot of people in here. Obviously, the goal overall is to become successful in whatever it is that we're doing, right? So for me, this is something I want to know from both of you is how do you find your niche? Because I feel like a lot of people, they all have the same desire of I want to be greater than what I was last year, but they have no direction.
Right.
So y'all both spoke about for you spoke about no, it was you. By moving forward, when you have somebody to show you to take you to the next level, you must have somebody to present something so you can get into your purpose. So how do you know? How do you find a niche? It's for you as well. How do you find a niche? And okay, this is where I need to be. This is how I take myself to the next level. This is what I do best.
Yeah. You want me to take that first?
You go first.
For me, one thing is definitely understand that it might be the same thing that somebody else is doing. A lot of people feel like, okay, I can't do this because somebody else is already doing it. I can't be a chef because somebody else is a chef. One of my mentors' friends, my children play sports. So my children play basketball. My two oldest have already graduated. I got a younger daughter. She's a senior. And he was doing some business. And the business he was doing, it was similar to some business somebody else was doing. And so I asked him a question, kind of just off the cuff, like, how can you be successful now if other people have been successful? And he's like, your children play basketball. I said, yeah. He said, why? I said, what do you mean? He said, how come they just quit? I said, what do you mean? He's like, why are they playing? Somebody's already been successful at basketball.
Right.
He's like, you already got Michael Jordan, you already got LeBron, so there's no reason for them to play. I was like, I get it. He's like, just because somebody else is doing it doesn't mean that you can't be successful at it as well.
That's right.
So for me, I think a lot of people see, I can't get in this lane or I can't do this because somebody else is already doing it. But somebody is looking for your specific, particular, your style, your way. Somebody wants it from you. So you could be doing the exact same thing as somebody else is doing, but somebody is looking for it from you. So from me, right off the bat, your niche may not be something that's brand new and nobody's ever done. No, you ain't got to recreate the wheel. Go and make that thing a little bit better. Yeah. So number one is doing that. Number two, I think we're going to touch on a little bit even later, is building yourself up, man.
Yeah.
Building yourself up and not being afraid. T.D. Jakes said this. His son was talking to him, and his son was afraid. I find out a lot of people are afraid to step out and do something because they don't know what it is. Like, what's my niche? His son asked him the question, Dad, I don't know if I should do this. I don't know. What if this is not the thing? T.D. Jakes answered him, but what if it's the thing that leads to the thing? And a lot of people are afraid to do the thing, not knowing that they might not be the thing right there. But what if that's the thing that leads to the thing? There are a lot of people who became great doing something and found their niche on their way to their niche. For me, get going. Say, I don't know what it is. All right, move somewhere. You ain't going to find it. Just sit still. You get going. And I'm a firm believer that you also run into your purpose, or if you know your purpose, you run into things that will assist your purpose while you're on your way to the purpose. But you'll never run into those things, and sometimes you never run into it if you never go towards it.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. That's right. I often looked at that. I said, step 2 is hitting step 1.
Say that again.
Step 2 is hitting step 1. So until you take step 1, you won't see the other step. If a headlamp on your car, you drive from the East Coast to the West Coast or one state to another, the headlamp is only shining at 200 feet increments. So how do you get from New York to California? It's in 200-foot increments. So you can only see at 200 feet per time. So you see that 200 feet, you drive that. Then it shows you another 200, you drive that. Step 2 is in step 1. But for people, I think the biggest question for people when it comes to purpose is, how do I find out what I'm good at? It's sometimes, and we were just talking about this, somebody here, we were talking about that the hardest questions are usually the simplest ones.
Yeah.
What do you want? It's such an easy question to answer, but why is it so tough? And I think that the best idea that I can share with someone in terms of finding purpose, what is that thing that you love to do that gives you energy that you would just do it for free? You're already doing it for free. You like playing basketball and it's just that thing you love to do. You like sewing, do you like talking, sharing with people? You like, baking, whatever it may be. And if you're still struggling with figuring that out, it's usually easiest for the people around you to tell you. Because they see it in you.
Do it all the time. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Hey man, you're nice at basketball. Man, nobody bakes cookies like you. Man, Dion, those t-shirts you make, they fit me the best. It asks the people around you, get that feedback. You know what I'm saying? So I would suggest for them, so remember, step 2 is hitting step 1. So don't try to figure it all out. move. Motion creates emotion. And so once you get going, you'll figure out the rest of it. And here's the other thing I would say. From point A to point B is never a straight line. So this is where you are, it's point A. Where you want to end up is point B. Well, I want to be a billionaire. I want to be a millionaire. I want to have a husband. I want to get a wife. That's the destination. Most people think it's linear. No, this is what it actually looks like. The place you want to go to is over here. When you start, you're all over the place. And then eventually you land here. You know how you can prove it? A rocket ship, when it leaves Earth heading to the moon, is off track over 90% of the time. Facts. So that means if the Earth is here and the moon is there, if it's off track over 90% of the time, that means it takes off and you're almost going in the opposite direction. So you say, well, how in the world does the rocket eventually land on the moon? It's constantly adjusting. But it's moving in order to know what to adjust to. But if you sit still, how do you know what to adjust to?
That's good. That's good. Hey, we up one.
Oh, we are one.
We up one. Yeah. We up one. We up one. Yeah. We up one. Yeah, I gotta let it. I'm keeping score. You know what I mean? I'm just letting y'all know I'm keeping score. Can I be real? So I heard you say something earlier. To get to the point that you just made, you said, "How do you know what you don't know?" And I heard you said that before. And for me, it's like, how do I know? How do I know what I don't know? And it's like you don't know until like you need it, or until it's time, to get to that point. But a lot of times, even for me, it's like that fear, right? Like I know I don't know something, but I know if I go out to get the information, like I'm gonna have to change myself to get that information first. Like my question for you guys is like, what point in you guys' life where you didn't know something and you knew you had to make an adjustment, and like how did you go through that to get to the information that you needed to know?
That's funny. I'll jump on this one first.
Go ahead.
So it's funny. He just witnessed this yesterday, and that's why it came right to me. So one of the things that I like reinventing myself. I've done so many things as an entrepreneur over the last 30 plus years. And about 2 years ago, I said that I want to teach myself how to trade, like on Forex. And so I picked up my phone, I put a couple $100 in there, lost every dime, all of it. Of course, I was sad about it. Put another one there, lost it again. And so then I went to YouTube University and I just started watching the videos and learning. And so, I'll give you just a quick number just to give you a point, and then I'll tell you my reason for saying this. My best week in that first year was $68,000 in 1 week. Now, mind you, I lost a whole bunch of money in the first couple of times trying to do this, right? And so I trade on my phone. I have 2 phones. I'll trade on both phones. And so it's so funny because the app that I used this past week, they just went away with it. Like out of nowhere, we're not using this anymore. No! 2 years of learning this. So now I got a choice to make. Give up trading or innovate. In other words, the Marines, they adapt and overcome.
Thanks.
Where's the camera? Adapt and overcome. Now, I already consider myself to be blessed. So I could have just stopped. But Carlos will tell you, yesterday we were at the presentation. I said he saw my computer open, and then I was talking to EJ right there. He was right there. And as I'm having a conversation with EJ, I look at my computer and I saw these white lines go up. I said, EJ, one second. I ran over there, and Carlos comes by me. He's like, you must have made some money because I saw how you moved over there. I said, I sure did. But my point is, I started teaching myself how to trade on my computer now as opposed to the phone. So I had to learn new skills, even though I just spent all this time making all this money. But you got to constantly allow yourself to have the mindset of, it doesn't matter what shows up. I'm going to adapt and overcome.
Yo, good.
I'll give you that's good sportsmanship right there.
See?
Yeah.
I'll say this, man, too. For me, so I was in New York State Police. Finish the story. So when I was in New York State Police in the academy, For 6 months. 6 months. So people don't realize you were there for 6 months. I'm telling the story. Story gonna be quick, but I lived there for 6 months. Did I say 6 months?
Yeah.
Stay on the right side of the hallway. Yes, sir. No, sir. You can't talk. Put that in your right hand. 6 months. 2 weeks out of that training was driving training. So we're in a classroom for about a day. The rest of the 2 weeks, we just out driving. Just driving. This one trooper in particular, man, makes over 6 figures. All he gets paid to do is teach people how to drive. I said, man, where you get this guy? Like they give him cars, he wrecked the cars. He was driving cars backwards through trials faster than we could drive them forward. Yo, first day I get into class. All right, I'm gonna ask y'all. When you was driving your car, how many heard, watch out for the blind side?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody ever heard that when you start driving your car?
Blind spot.
And blind spot might get you. Watch out for that blind spot. First thing he says in the class is, there is no blind spot. I said, brother, they paying you how much money to do this? So there is no blind spot. He said, the problem with most people is we've been taught improper mirror placement. If you place your mirrors the right way, the car, as soon as it leaves the mirror here, it appears in the mirror here.
Wow.
And I changed my mirrors, and it's true. You want to know the most difficult thing? Is driving with your mirrors in a different placement. You want to put them back.
Yep.
Because it's like, this don't feel right.
Mm-hmm.
This feel uncomfortable. What am I saying? When you don't know what you don't know, you got to have somebody who knows what you don't know to tell you what you don't know. The problem is when they tell you what you don't know and you don't know it, you want to reject it because it's something that you don't know and it goes against what you do know.
Wow.
So when somebody comes and tells you, you have to be able to receive this information, understanding they know something that I don't know.
That's right.
And when they tell me this, it's probably going to be uncomfortable because I'm used to doing everything the way that I know how to do it. Changed my mirrors, and once I kept doing it like that, I found out there was no blind side. In my life, long story short question, D, is I need people outside of me who can tell me something I don't know, and then I need to trust them beyond what I'm comfortable with.
Do you mind if I ask him a follow-up question?
Yeah.